chaos, probably more than normal. But alongside us, obviously, we have an amazing special guest, Jason. Jason, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks for having me. If this is your first time together in person, then it's just like, you know, hey, I'm on the same page.
You are. You're honestly right there.
Yeah.
You didn't
Right
need
there
to
with
binge
us.
3
for sure.
seasons worth of content to jump into this, so it should be fine.
Mark just put it right in my mind.
Yeah, he did. He telepathically sent it.
I'm all caught up.
So tonight's going to be super fun, but before we get into that, obviously, our usual. So big thank you to everybody out there who supports us, listens to our show, leaves a review. We are a podcast first and foremost. And a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters who really made this show able to even be here today. So without you guys, we wouldn't have been where we are now, and we really can't wait to push forward. We've got way more shows coming out. We've been really expanding, and we continue to plan to do so moving forward with your support. So thank you guys so much. Other than that, though, is there anything else, Dot, that I need to mention? Or is that
Other than the fact we're live at GenCon.
We're live at GenCon 2022.
No, that's about it, Mathas.
Fantastic. Then, shall we do
That
it?
small item.
This is a small,
tiny
item. All right, well then let's set the scene, rein things in, and see what our coterie is up to. As the screen fades in from black, we are greeted with nothing but silence, the sounds of crickets chirping on our left, right, and a squirrel makes its way across a back alley road somewhere, stops for a minute, seems to play with something in its hand before. In the distance, lights crest over the hill. And as those lights bathe across the squirrel, it quickly peeks up and scurries off into the woods. And as this vehicle comes closer, as the sound grows louder, we realize it's not just a simple car, but it's some sort of larger vehicle. And as the camera pulls off to the side and we watch as the car blurs by, we get glimpses of what looks to be a moving truck of some sort. The camera cuts. Instead, now we're inside of the vehicle itself. Alongside the driver, as the camera pans to our left, and we see an old man, somewhere in his 80s or 90s, by the name of John, in very simple clothing, a button-down shirt, and for the first time, we see him in jeans.
Oh.
It is a road trip after all, and that night out on the ice skating rink certainly loosened him up for jeans to move forward. It was the first time our dear 80-something-year-old man got high, and he had a great time.
True. He had a good time.
He had a very good time. As John kind of peers out the road, we see trees bathed in shadow passing by us. But eventually we pull back. The sounds of the outside grow even more muffled. And instead, we see standing around in a relatively plain and empty vehicle, 4 familiar faces. We'll start with the man standing in a corner, emptily gazing upon the rest of his coterie and the floor perhaps as he thinks the next 10 or 20 steps ahead. Duke. Now, for those who may be watching and don't know this show, would you mind, Bub, describing what Duke looks like?
Sure. Duke is very out of place amidst most kindred. Honestly, aside from most humans, he's 6'9", about 300 pounds. He dresses like someone who may do paperwork or even your taxes. Been true by heart, he stays rather quiet, but he's not afraid to keep his coterie in line.
And as he watches his coterie, we see probably pacing in very short steps our dearest Vera.
Vera's a 5'10", thin ballerina build of a woman, blonde hair, which she keeps under a very large hat that hides her beautiful face. She's somewhere between a Jessica Rabbit and a Morticia Addams, I'd say. But she's on for the move, so she might be a bit more casual, less gloves and long fingernails, and more ready for a new adventure.
And as we see Vera taking a few short steps and pacing, the vehicle hits a bump and everything kind of jostles for a minute before we look over to Max, who was petting Max Jr., but as the bump hit the road, Max Jr., your hairless cat, got a little nervous, jumped, and scurried up to your shoulder by your head.
It's all right, fella. Don't worry. Max is a monster. No putting any fancy spin on it. He doesn't look remotely human, more like, I don't know, some kind of big purple bat. He's huge. His muscles ripple beneath the bathrobe that he wears. Tattered. And on his feet, a pair of buddy slippers.
Well worn?
Very. The robe's seen better days, too.
And as Max Jr. purrs in your ear and rubs the back of your neck as he switches from shoulder to shoulder, the last of our coterie falls into view. Sean, it has been about a month since the events of New York. I'm very curious what Sean looks like, if he's changed at all in terms of how he presents himself.
Yeah. So what you see is a young man looking pretty scruffy with short, dark curly hair and some pretty vicious-looking teeth. He's probably like curled up in one corner of this van, just like waiting. He looks pretty tense. Yeah,
That's fair. The four of you are on your way out of New York after about 30 days of preparation. Events that transpired in New York certainly shook the city up, but it was your opportunity to walk away with clean hands and find a new start. And so to Chicago you went. It's the only city that you know of that is still relatively stable in the Camarilla eyes. And for the most part, all of you are on the Camarilla's good side. But that all comes to an abrupt stop. As the vehicle lurches forward, a few of you are thrown off your kilter. And soon you can hear the squeaks of the brakes overtake anything else. As the moving truck lurches to its stop, a very gentle knock, knock, knock on the front cabin hits the back wall. And through it, you can barely hear John's voice, but it's very hard to understand what he's saying.
Duke, there was no planned stops from here to Chicago. What is going on?
Vera, I don't know.
I don't like it when you say that, Duke.
We're not
You
slated to
always
stop for another 30 or 40 miles.
Maybe John needed a piss stop.
John never needs a piss stop, Sean.
Well, I heard.
Okay, Vera, you reckon it's trouble? Max stands up.
Maybe it's trouble, but we shouldn't start trouble.
He could be having a stroke. After all,
You think he's dying?
he's like 100 years old.
Is there like a window or something to the front cabin?
Absolutely not, because there could be sun that leaks through.
Okay. Is it daytime or nighttime?
It is nighttime, you are awake.
Okay. Everyone stay here. Just check on John.
The thought of John having a stroke creeps into her mind. We see Vera panically lift the back door as it rolls open. And the empty road is there to greet you, with yellow lines that haven't been repainted in God knows how long, and forest on each side.
Max obfuscates.
And so as we kind of look on the inside of the truck and Vera hops out, Max simply ripples out of existence.
I already miss the city. I just want to say it out loud. Okay. John, are you alive?
As you shout that, the front door to the cabin does open with a squeak as it flies out. And you see his old wrinkled hand kind of wave out before he leans out just enough. Mistress Vera, there seems to be a roadblock. As he ushers you forward.
What is a roadblock?
Go around it, mate.
Yes, go around it, John.
Madam Volkov, I don't know how to move around and he just kind of loses words. There's a tree, a large, can you just please come up here, Miss Vera?
Don't worry, Vera. I'll come with it. I can probably
Yes,
take
we
care of
have,
it.
we have Max for trees. Yes, Max, there's a tree in the road.
So I hear. All right, let's go.
Max hops out, obviously unable to be seen or heard. And as you make your way out front, and you pass Vera on your right, and you see John just kind of has a hand on the wheel. You do see what looks to be a large pine tree, shattered at its base, laid haphazardly across the road in a diagonal angle. It seems it probably hasn't been here that long, but as you do so, can I get a wits awareness from you?
As Max passes by the open window, he says, there's your trouble, John. There's a tree in the road.
You see him adjust his glasses. I must have missed it.
Ain't got no fuel in it.
Yeah, well, don't worry. That's why they call me in. I'm a regular expert.
You know, I don't know much about trees, but I don't think they belong in the road. Is there something wrong? Natural causes? Should we be concerned?
As
Max?
Vera continues to speak, you actually hear quite a way in the forest what seems to be the yipping of coyote pack, followed by shriek howls.
What is that awful noise?
No modifiers, right?
No modifiers, sir.
That would be coyotes, Vera.
Did that go through?
Lyle's friends.
Just tell me what you ended up rolling.
Can't
Max
see
will
because
find
my
coyote.
character sheet's in the way.
Oh,
Hold
no.
on.
Can you see
Come
what
on, roll 20.
You can do it. I believe in you, Roll20.
I called for a roll. That was
Here
the
we
first
go.
mistake.
Next.
Oh, he's got 4
normal
of them.
successes.
4 normal successes. So as you make your way to the tree, and you kind of jam your hands under each one, and without much of a, without too much of a struggle and just a simple grunt, we see Max start to just shove this huge tree as it drags across the asphalt. You can hear the grinding of the wood, and wood chips are left over in its path. But as you push it, Max, a little bit down the road, cast barely in the moonlight, there is a silhouette. Human, certainly, but it's hard to tell exactly or make out any details from this distance. It's a bit too dark. And while they're sure you have the lights of the vehicle behind you moving forward, it's not enough to give such detail. What does Max do, if anything?
Max takes a look at the figure. His eyes narrow a little bit. He wanders back. Hold tight a minute, John. I gotta have a word with Vera.
And as Max walks to the back of the truck, the camera does not follow. Instead, it glides across the road, further down, as a silhouette gets closer and closer. Bob. You've been waiting for about 3 or 4 hours. Prince Kevin Jackson sent you out this way. There was some rumor or noise from the east, some problem in New York, and last these people who may have caused such a problem were seen heading west. And much like most kindred know, at least in this time, Chicago is one of the only stable cities within the US still under Camarilla control. And if these troublemakers, these people are truly purported to have caused such a problem, and they want entrance to the city, he needs to make sure they're on the up and up. That's where you come in. You've been waiting for this vehicle to arrive. You know it's a moving truck. And as you see this vehicle stop ahead, we finally catch up. And the camera flies up to you. And I would like to know, what does Bob Kowalski look like?
Well, about 5'9", 250, but he's working on it. He's got greasy brown hair underneath a black baseball cap with a red bull head on it. He's got a huge, unkempt, bushy mustache. He's got a brown leather jacket with a brown bear head on him. He's got a powder underneath that. He's got a powder blue baseball jersey with a big red letter C on it.
Amazing.
He's wearing some navy blue sweatpants and some way too bright white sneakers.
Without even having to know much else about you, this probably means nothing to you, but Kadir would love you. The sheriff of New York would love you. And that's what, as I said, our camera sees. Now, as far as you've been told, Bob, you want to make sure that they are trustworthy. In order to enter the city of Chicago, Kevin Jackson demands a show of good faith, a show of willing to be loyal and follow the rules. And so, there's been a masquerade breach not too far from here, maybe another 5 miles down the road, an old graveyard that's been long abandoned, belonging to a Nosferatu whose name they did not give you, had apparently fed there, and a mess was left, but that's all you know. And so he wishes to have you bring these new kindred who wish to enter Chicago to said masquerade breach and have them clean it up, see if they're willing to play by the rules. And if they are, and with a good recommendation from you, of course, they would be allowed in Chicago. But that very heavily relies on how you see them. As you see this car stopped after a few minutes, you do notice the tree moves just a bit, and then it stops. Do you wait where you are, or would you approach this vehicle? You're expecting them, so you are likely to assume it is them, or would you wait?
I see the tree moving. I'm gonna go
So it starts to walk. And so Bob Kowalski begins walking down the road.
Vampire Bob Kowalski.
The vampire Bob Kowalski begins walking down the road, and that's where our camera blur cuts again. Next to Vera, and then into existence, we see Max.
Vera. Somebody's waiting up the road. Want me to,
Do I see them, Mathas?
As
This
Vera
figure.
peers around the vehicle, and you have to step a good few feet away from the vehicle, you do actually see not only a silhouette, but it seems to be moving toward you.
You know what, Max? It is a new evening. We are starting a new life. The least I can do is greet a strange figure on the road with a little bit of hospitality. Salutations, strange traveler.
Oh, just to clarify, Max probably wouldn't have uncloaked.
Okay, he would have
unless
stayed invisible, but kept his voice to a whisper.
Just keep yourself invisible in case things go poorly.
You're always such a creep.
You're in the van.
You just hear Sean's voice in the van. God, you're such a creep, Max.
What do I do to deserve this? All right. Okay, if things go south, I'll pop.
I mean, you do have a whole tree you could throw at them.
Yeah, might get a little messy.
When has that ever stopped us? Hello!
And so, Bob, as you meander down, you do hear the loud voice of Vera. Salutations and hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'd be better if we were still on our way to Chicago. Is there a reason you are standing in the road, pedestrian?
Yeah, maybe.
Who's this dude?
I'm not exactly sure. Duke?
Yes.
We may need some persuasion. Excuse me, would you like to tell us why you have stopped our transportation?
In time, I'll tell you.
Okay.
He leisurely makes his way around the tree.
I would like to sense the beast of this dude. I'm gonna.
Go ahead, make me the roll.
You are such a creep.
You know, I can always ask him later.
As he approaches, Vera would be
that?
the woman standing in front, of course. And as he approaches, you see this man clad in Chicagoan gear with that big bushy mustache and a voice that says, "Yeah, I'm from Chicago."
You're the welcoming party.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. Well, we would like to continue. Is there like a magic word or a boon we owe you or some regular vampire necessity?
Well, let's just say I was sent here by a very special guy.
I got 2 successes. Can I tell if he's a vampire?
He is indeed.
Oh shit, careful, Vera.
As you're mid-conversation, just Sean from the back of the moving vehicle. "Oh shit, careful, Vera."
That's my lackey.
he might be a vampire.
Yes,
Is your
Sean.
character particularly like, is he feeling violent towards us or angry towards us in any way?
Oh yeah, how is he carrying himself?
From
Very
Chicago,
leisurely?
of course he's
Super
violent.
Super casual, leisurely.
I don't think he's going to kill you right away. You'll be all right.
Well, that's good to know. Sir, if you plan to kill me, please get it over with. It's been a very long 30 days.
I'm not really in any kind of hurry to do that.
Are you in a hurry to do anything?
Not really, to be honest with you.
Well,
What's the dude want?
Does Sean just stay in the truck the whole time,
standing
and he's
like
just
the
shouting out to her?
may I ask what it is you
Duke hops
want?
out and grabs Sean. Just kind of pushes him out of it.
As you're about to talk to him again, and Bob's like, all of a sudden, you just see Sean stumble out of the car as Duke just stands very coldly and stoically behind him.
This special person you work for, do they have a name?
They do. Indeed, they do have a name.
What is it?
Would you mind sharing it with all of us?
That's what I said.
I mean, would I mind? Maybe.
Please.
Let's just say he's got princely quality to him.
Oh! Vera probably like straightens up, changes entire demeanor the moment the prince is really. Well, you see, we are on our way to Chicago to acclimate to the local ecosystem, and I am very interested in helping Jackson.
Oh,
have to kill him.
Good, because he may or may not have an assignment for you.
Already!
Well, you know, don't consider me a welcoming party just yet.
This was supposed to be handled already.
What
Who's
was?
Prince King Jackson?
You know, Sean, as somebody that has a bit of an entanglement with the local, I don't know, political triangle, I'd say you know exactly what a prince is.
Yeah, but why is he a king?
Because that's the title he's chosen for himself.
Max materializes right in front of Bob.
Oh, yikes!
Hey there.
What we got going over here?
Hey there, sport. How's it going? Listen, I'm gonna move this here tree of yours out of the way while you and Vera talk things out. Hope you don't mind. And Max,
walks
Puts his
off.
full strength.
Hey,
and
listen,
focus.
I'd rather you be on my side than not be on my side. So, yeah, go right ahead.
So you are a wise man.
And in the background, we can hear the grinding of the tree.
I imagine our recent departure from New York City has prompted such a visitation.
Well, we heard a few things and thought it might be better to sort of test your loyalties first.
Oh, don't worry. We're harmless. Look at us.
Well, we don't want you to be harmless.
Okay,
Why
well,
you
we
work
have a bit
for
of an
us.
edge to us. It is why we're leaving New York. We are a valuable asset, I'd say.
Well, you can maybe prove that to us tonight, and, I can be the judge.
Okay, Vera. This is some kind of shakedown. What do you want?
Well, I haven't been shaken down in almost a decade, so let's, roll with it, I guess. We have nowhere else to go. What are we gonna do? Turn around? We can't take the car home.
Did you walk all this way from Chicago proper? It's a
Duke
long
chimes
trip.
in.
Hey, that's my business. He's a Jets fan, isn't he?
Well,
When
he's a
was-
fan of certain
When
things.
was the last time the Cubbies won anything?
Just a couple years ago, the curse is broken, and I may or may not have had something to do with that.
Gentlemen, you're both pretty. I'm just going to say, I think maybe we could offer you a ride since you walked all the way out here. And we could help you with your little Jackson's predicament. What is it? What is the problem?
All right, well, listen. So there's a graveyard about 5 miles from here.
Okay.
And
I already do not like this.
let's just say some veils were lifted. Some intentions were shown that shouldn't have been shown.
You're
And,
super cryptic, dude. I don't get any of this.
It's a masquerade, Preach Junior. All right, who's the guilty party then?
Well, I mean, I don't want to say too much or exactly, but let's just say they rhyme with Fosteratu.
Oh, Max wouldn't know anything about that.
Is that a sitcom?
Yeah, I gotta be honest with you. Most of the time, narcissists like to keep a low profile. They're usually the last one you have to worry about.
I agree. So this is a really sensitive situation, you might say. So the prince would really, really appreciate it if you could take care of this.
What exactly was the breach?
Last night,
What happened?
no details.
They left a
Fantastic.
mess.
Okay. Well, if it means anything, we're very good at cleaning up messes.
Now, this Nosferatu in question, did he get pinched? You got him under wraps, or is he in the wind?
In the wind.
No clue.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Does
just
he have a
flying around.
name?
They didn't even tell me that.
Do you have a name?
I do.
Would you like to share it with me?
Bob Kowalski.
Bob,
Pleased to meet you.
I'm Vera Volkholm. Nice to
Wow.
meet you.
That's a name.
Well, I've been working on it. I've had about 100 years.
Actually, when she says her name, could you please give me?
Oh no.
We'll go with a wits politics roll.
Sure.
The more dice you get, the more embarrassing the story.
So, oh baby, got two ten. Oh, those are ones. Actually.
Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing.
You literally, their name does not ring a bell to you whatsoever.
Well, it should. I am the #1 performer in New York City, or was. And now I'm ready to bring my talents to Chicago.
Now that she says that, she's the one that ran down a succubus club last you heard.
Yeah.
Well, they started in Chicago. What are you judging me for?
Hey there, Bob. I'm Max. And Max puts his giant taloned hand out for a shake. How's it going?
Pleased to meet you. What do you think of my tree work there?
Yeah, not too bad, not
Yeah.
too bad. You knocked that down
I
yourself?
tried to make it look like a lightning strike, breaking in just the right spots.
But there's no storm.
Yeah.
You can literally see all of the stars.
Last night, maybe.
Oh, I see. Like before. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
There's always a chance of getting struck by lightning.
So, Bob,
Yeah.
what can we do you for, as they say?
Well, the prince would really appreciate it if you maybe investigated this situation. I'm gonna come with you.
All right. You know where this place is?
Sure do. If you really want to give me a ride, I can take you there.
Wait. How is the prince's appreciation shown? I would like to know.
He'll show you by not having you eliminated before you enter Chicago. How about that?
Yeah, we're kind of at their mercy here, kid. Best to play along for now.
No, really?
Sean, this is called an option that you don't actually have.
Cool. So I can't stay here.
No, you're coming with us.
Fuck.
Yes.
I hate to be cliche or anything, but might as well just jump in with both feet. This is an offer that you can't refuse, kid.
That was from a film. Right. Show us the way then.
Duke,
Yes.
Vidru to Vidru. The prince. Is this what, a power play? Or is it just a busy work, as they call it?
Just a kind door knock, just to see exactly what our intentions might be and if we can fall into line.
I hate lies.
Not a fan of them either.
Okay, this is going to be fun. It should be easy, right? Just clear out a few notes for us.
Sure.
We've done that before.
I guess I have, come to think of it.
We're suited for this job. Jackson chose the right crew.
And so the 5 of you pile into the back of the moving van. Unless you take the shotgun next to John so you can direct him to the...
Yeah.
Yeah, so
All right,
as you go into the back, we see Bob walks around, hops into shotgun, and this ancient man sits at the driving wheel. He's somewhere between 80 and 100, wrinkles
Wow.
all the way down.
Familiar?
It's hard. If he was, it was when he was maybe in his 20s. It's hard to tell if this guy, you know this guy at this point. But he looks over to you with a very interesting gaze, but looks out the window, doesn't see Vera. Where are we going, sir?
Just right down here. 2 miles here, take the next exit, and then...
He reaches forward to put his lights on and accidentally puts his blinker on, but doesn't seem to notice. Shifts it back into drive and looks around for a second like he drops something before you lurch forward as he slams onto the gas a little too hard. Sorry.
It's all right, John. You're doing your best. Thank you.
Attaboy, John. Attaboy.
We love you.
And for 5 miles, you drive. Now we can cut there, or it would be any conversation the 4 of you would have while Bob Kowalski is up
Yes,
front.
he's in the front seat, isn't he? I don't like this. Why is Jackson playing a power card?
This was supposed to be taken care of.
I thought so
We
too. We
handled
were
this
just
with the
supposed to
prince.
show up, right?
said that.
We did our due diligence. We left New York. We fixed the problem.
We haven't got there yet. We don't have to say hi, right?
Hi to you.
No, I learned that from you. It's like getting along with the new folks.
Yes, but I don't want to do extra credit work, if you would, Sean.
Yeah, well, for whatever reason, the prince decided that he's got us by the short and curlies, and looks like they're right.
I
we
don't
done?
like it. If he's willing to play us entering the city, can you imagine how he's going to be when we get there?
I mean, like every other prince ever.
Yes, I don't like it.
Right?
It ain't a good sign, I'll admit.
Bob,
But
you gotta kill.
Bob's up front. You can't talk to him right now.
Bob!
No,
You hear it in the back. You just hear a muffled boom.
He turns to John and he says, what's with them?
Oh, they're all quite nice if you get to know them, except for maybe Sean.
I had a feeling.
Always knew he was an asshole.
He just kind of squints his eyes. Ever since he's entered Vera's life, our lives have been miserable.
Sorry to hear that. Maybe,
Where's
maybe
the
you
lie?
gotta turn over a
There's
new
no
leaf
lie
here.
in that.
He's as you say that, he's like, one can hope, or perhaps he'll just go missing one day.
I like
He looks
your
over-
attitude.
As he he slowly turns his head. Chicago has a high crime rate, doesn't it?
It sure does. Somebody can just disappear. 50% of all crimes go unsolved. Just saying.
We were rid of Sean at one point. He returned like a parasite.
Sheesh.
I blame him for this journey.
How dare you? I got you high once.
As he pulls out a vape.
Of course, John vapes now. Of course.
Careful, those things can explode on you.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to pay much attention to that and actually offers it to you.
I'm good, thanks.
Tosses it on a dashboard. I found it in Sean's jeans. The camera stays and the car flies forward.
Max, as a Nosferatu, what sort of masquerade breaches may occur at an abandoned graveyard?
Well, like I say, Nas usually is going to want to keep a low profile. Masquerade breach, it's a little for the more flashier types, right? Nas, well, graveyard, maybe lured someone there, someone who was mourning, visiting a grave.
Ugh,
I don't like it.
I don't either. And since I'm a bit of a pessimist, I'd like to say that it's far worse than that. The graveyard is full of dead bodies. And there are far worse things than the walking dead.
Try having Sean as your child. Or,
Right, thank you.
What?
yep.
He looks up for a moment, somehow has a burner phone again.
Yes.
He looks up, what?
Try not to get into trouble. Keep a low profile, kid.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna let Bob
How
know
do you
what's going
keep
on.
finding phones? I,
It's you gotta have more than one, otherwise Max will crush him.
Okay, I'd like to know, where's our feelings on Bob?
He's a bit weird.
Yes, I think so too, but he's kind of cute.
Why does that matter?
I don't know if it's the baseball thing. I seem to be drawn to that.
Oh yeah, the dude
I
with
seem
the
to be
sword.
averse to those that are
You
drawn
mean the
particularly to
sheriff
baseball.
of New York City, Kadir? He has a name, you heathen.
Yeah, but like he tried to kill me, so
Yes, well, it's not the person who's trying to kill any of us.
it is
You're
the
not
baseball, isn't it?
Duke. You seem to have a bit of a gut instinct, I trust.
Well, even though I do not like baseball, I find that they're only angry against those that go against the home team.
Maybe it's the pants.
As that thought crawls into her mind, the camera cuts to a hard black. When we return, we see the vehicle parked, lights off. Outside, leaning against it, is Jonathan. Not leaning against it in a cool dude fashion, but more like for support because he's somewhere in his 90s. Off in the distance, we can hear the crunching footsteps amongst the grass. And as we catch up with it, we see our five together again. Just in the distance, all five of you can see a rusted metal gate and the name Mountain View Cemetery just arched across that rusted gate entrance. The gate itself is off its hinges. You can see one on the ground overgrown by grass, but the second one is nowhere to be seen. The gravestones themselves are a 50-50 shot of if they're even standing or if they're on the ground, shattered or broken. But even as they come into view, it's hard to even see the names on these gravestones. They've been so ill-tended for clearly years. And as you approach that, you stop on the outside. It doesn't take much, not a wit's awareness. You can clearly see about 100 feet into the graveyard itself, gravestones covered in dried blood. Hours old, probably from last night. But beyond that, you see nothing.
We're not in Chicago proper.
No, you are not.
How far away are
Pretty
we?
close. You're within under a day's travel.
You know, I always wonder why they call this place Mountain View, because we got no mountains around here.
As you look around, it's just forest.
Yes, some might call that irony, or funny, or something stupid. Why are we here? Where is it?
Take a look. Right
Okay,
here.
so there's blood all over a gravestone, but what are we looking for?
You want
Seems
to
like a
go
bit of a
check it out,
waste.
Vera? Max's voice is disembodied, but he has changed out of his bathrobe and he's wearing his street clothes, the flak jacket, the trench coat.
What say we treat this? Remember that warehouse with the werewolves?
Sure.
We kind of came at it from all sides.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm cloaked. I can walk up, look around, report back. Or do you all want to swarm on in?
I imagine they don't know we're coming.
If you're invisible, can you see other invisible people?
Funnily enough, no.
That sucks.
Well, I can
That's
help
not how
with
it works.
that.
Yeah, even I know that.
I'm going to heighten my senses.
Please do. Do you need to make a rouse check or is it free?
I do not need a rouse check, but I will roll for
Wits
wits
awareness?
awareness with my auspex.
Are you going to stay at the front entrance and not enter the graveyard itself? As Max?
Absolutely not. What do I have to do in there, Mathas? Nothing.
I'm just asking.
Nothing. I shall view it from afar.
Max is going to, once again, disappear out of view.
And I'll head directly for it.
And you head directly forward.
I think Duke would probably also go into the graveyard.
Yeah, Sean's following.
You know
I'll
what?
take up.
Oh, no, please.
I'll take up the rear. You know, I'm gonna
Sure.
watch.
You watch them
what
move
this
forward.
New York team can do.
I'm going to use a point of willpower to add 2 dice to this roll along with my aspects. This seems maybe like it's important.
Please do.
Yeah.
As we're walking towards it, though, I turn to Max and I go, Max, what's the deal with this Jonathan guy? Is he like a familiar? Is he a ghoul? Like what? He's like 110 years old, and I mean but like immortal. Like he's about to friggin' fall apart.
He's a friend. That's all you need to know, Bob.
All right.
That would be 6.
Anybody else want to make a wits awareness? You're more than welcome to. Before I describe what Vera maybe hears.
I've actually got dice in this now.
Oh boy.
I got 2 successes.
2 successes.
I got 1.
1 success. Max.
Come on, what's awareness?
6.
Yeah, you got a lot.
I think you're all right.
D. Sorry. D.
Did you want to roll wits awareness as well?
Sure.
Yes, Mr. Baseball Man, named Bob.
One normal success.
One
and
success.
One
Got it.
hunger success.
Oh yeah.
You got 2
So
successes.
we see about as much.
2 successes. So honestly, it is only Vera who meets the threshold that I'm looking for here. As you stride in, Vera, as the people walk past you and start spreading out, wherever Max goes, you lose track of him. Duke wanders off in a particular direction. You see Sean probably checks out a gravestone, gets distracted by something.
I kick it.
You kick
I
it.
regret
You watch him kick a gravestone over.
You're the worst.
What are you doing?
We should have just
All right,
left
I
you
thought
with
you
the
said-
cold.
No, you're, and then as Bob walks forward, he shouts like, "What are you doing? Like, why?"
What does it look like?
Come on, I thought we were trying to. You're just making the problem worse here.
It already looks like a tip. Like, I can't see invisible people. Why have you dragged me here?
Vera.
Yes.
As they all stride past you and bickering ensues between the new Bob and, of course, it's Sean that's arguing with him, you try to drown all of that out. You stop for a moment, close your eyes, and let the blood course through you as it thickens. Your hearing sharpens. You can hear every footstep, the blades of grass underneath cracking under each one, the movement and the ruffling of the clothing of your companions as they brush against each other as they walk. But you try to push past that. Opening your eyes, you look around and you take in much more light now. You can see some of the faded names on some of these gravestones, actually, even through the lichen that's built up over so many years. But even that doesn't hold your attention long. For somewhere out in the back of the graveyard, you can pick up what sounds to be a muffled crying, perhaps? It's hard to hear, to really understand the emotion behind the noise. It simply seems like perhaps a wailing or a crying of some sort. But it is distant, or at least it sounds distant.
Can I ping where it is coming from? Like which end of the graveyard, at least to guide
Wits
us?
investigation check.
Okay. Not my best roll. It's gonna be okay.
Do you want to use you could rouse check to add 2 to your...
I mean, I got a success.
Good enough to head in the general direction
Okay,
that
hopefully
you
with
truly
my
believe.
6, yeah, I can.
Whether you pinpoint the sound or not is a no. You're not able to pinpoint it. But as you move past them and they all kind of spread out and do their things, our camera is steadily right over Vera's shoulder. We follow her as she walks past the gravestones, reaching out her hand, elegantly dragging her fingers across the ones that are nearby.
Yeah.
Following off the walking path through the cluster of knocked over gravestones, eventually you see out in the back, just up against the fence, one of those raised tombs. Stone, chipped on multiple angles, but still seemingly shut. And as you look in that direction, you have a gut feeling. It has grown louder as you've gotten closer.
Ooh, okay. Vera will immediately, knowing this is going to be weird, turn on awe, which is a free action for her, just to be on the safe side.
Sure?
In kind of a low, bedside manner voice. She simply says, come out, wherever you are.
And that's the response you get. Eerie silence.
We just want to talk.
Are you moving while you're speaking? Getting closer
Yeah,
to this
closer,
raised tomb?
yeah.
Eventually, you reach it. It's at your feet, and you are now certain it is coming from in there. But even at the front, standing inches from this thing, the sound still sounds more muffled than it should.
I turn around to look at the rest of everybody, and I gesture to the tomb behind me. I found it.
As you turn around, you actually see Sean kicking over another one.
Sean.
Just to spite Bob.
Sean.
Yeah.
We've talked about participation
I'm
and
doing a job.
collaboration.
He hired me to do a job.
This wasn't part of the job. You got 2 strikes against you now.
Oh, you've heard those words before.
Yeah, that sounds real familiar.
Yeah, we've been here
I don't think
before.
you used that term. That's going to bring up some trauma.
We're not talking about that. We are.
No.
I'm a good boy. I just need to convince you of that, right?
To be fair, you are
What do
not
you
you are not aware of what his position is. He could be the sheriff. You do not know.
Sean, why don't you do us all a little favor and find some, I don't know, humbleness for your ego until we leave the graveyard and get back in the truck,
No.
Okay. Whatever it is inside of this tomb, it seems to be upset or affected in some way, crying.
Max?
Nope.
Yeah, I'm right here. So why don't you put it back in your pants and stop making Bob's life miserable? And we can just get this taken care of, and then we can go home.
He's not making my life miserable. He's making his own life miserable.
Yes, we would all.
I see the smile in the corner of your mouth.
He's making your lives miserable.
Yeah,
soon.
you like me.
Is your brand still visible?
Oh no, I've covered that up. I'm wearing like a heavy, thick black.
Okay, you're okay.
Like a leather jacket. I'm
Dude,
just like,
what is it that you might know about such a situation? You seem to have a bit of a knowledge bank for the occult. Can you pinpoint anything that we might be walking into before we walk into it?
I'm not entirely certain what we're looking at yet. I'd like to get to see the crime scene a bit better.
Well, I hate to tell you all I'm afraid of the dark, but I will not be the first one in that tomb.
I'll go in first.
Thank you, Max.
Hopefully it won't see me coming, but you never know. So,
And
you hear the sound of cracking knuckles?
And we see him latch his hands underneath the tomb, and with one giant heave, this stone, scraping against the concrete of its base, slides off to the side. And perhaps, as you look in, you hope to see what's making such a sound, but instead, the tomb is empty. And underneath, grass. But the crying is certainly coming from underneath. So it seems.
Like under the ground.
You can still hear it. If anybody crawls into the tomb itself, presses their ear against the ground or anything to further experiment, you all come to a very similar conclusion. And it's in that moment, hey! Out of maybe 50 feet out, past the fence, just amongst the brush, rippling into existence in a similar way as to Max, you see a Nosferatu. Jean shorts, tank top that's ripped up the front. A tattoo, tribal, from his shoulder all the way down his left arm to his fingertips, but his mouth is missing skin on its cheeks. You see the entirety of his wide smile, and his eyes are a deep, deep amber as he runs forward, shouting, Stop! You!
Okay, fella, all right. Nobody wants any trouble.
He stays on the other side of the fence for the time being, as the only way in, other than climbing, would be through that front entrance.
Does Bob recognize him?
Bob does not recognize him.
Okay.
This is just outside of Chicago's proper domain, but close enough to cause a problem should anything happen.
Well, go on, Max. He seems like,
What the fuck? Who the fuck are you?
Okay, listen, fella. What's your name?
No.
Okay, what do you want me to call you?
I want you to call me Get the Hell Out of My Home.
Okay, Home. Mr. Home? Would you prefer Mr. Home?
You're supposed to present yourselves to the owner of...
I am presenting myself. I am Vera Volkov.
Good to meet you.
You're going to want to present yourself to Bob then. Because he sounds like he owns this whole place.
Yea, verily. We are here on the prince's business.
Yes.
He looks to you and says, the prince has no jurisdiction here.
Well, You're pretty dang close to it. You're pretty too close to it.
You know, only guilty people worry about where the prince's jurisdiction is.
Or people who don't want government up his asshole so far it's gonna come out of my mouth.
Well, the problem is, the prince has put his dick right in and around and near this place.
Yeah, what are you, one of them sovereign citizens or what?
Oh,
What?
God, we don't need one of those.
He seems very flustered and reaches into his pocket for something, but doesn't seem to pull anything out very openly. He seems to be fiddling a bunch. He says, "What do you need? What does the prince want with my piece of paradise?"
He wants you to stop making so much noise and so much mess and so much trouble.
Deal. Got it.
Why
Bingo.
is the ground crying?
The ground is not crying and done.
Why is it weeping?
It's not.
I believe that to be a lie.
I'm
Are
gonna
you a
walk
mouth?
up to him when she says that.
I step into his space just a smidgen and I say, no, I will be your worst nightmare. Just tell me what it is you're hiding in this little tomb.
What? Listen, I'm not gonna make
No,
another
no, no,
peep.
faster.
No.
Tell us.
I'm talking to him now. I won't make a peep. You won't hear from me again. Not a noise in this graveyard ever again. It'll be peace, butterflies, and flowers, and
There you go, Bob. Look, he's gonna be quiet. Looks like we've solved
Hey,
the problem.
you.
Now we can go.
Will you do that thing you do?
You just mean exist.
Ask him to tell us what we want to know. Please.
What did you say your name was?
He didn't. Oh, wait. Get the hell out of my home.
There you go.
I think it's Italian.
Actually, I think the first thing he said was no, so his name might be No.
Oh,
Yeah, it's probably the first.
Listen, we would like to leave. We don't want to be here, but we have to prove our loyalties, and as soon as you can allow us to leave.
what am I being accused of?
Well, you can see the blood.
I'll clean it up.
That's not the problem.
He points to his mouth. I'm a messy eater.
I've gathered.
I mean, I think it's way beyond using napkins at this point because there's some screaming going on down underneath there.
Does anybody wish to make a persuasion or intimidation check on this?
Intimidation.
Whoever would like to roll.
I always let them
Everyone.
intimidate first.
Yeah, who's
I'll
up?
play good cop
Max
after.
Max is gonna do the intimidate. Is that what we want?
All right, intimidate.
I
I'm
will
pretty good
help
at it.
you.
I'll try
I'll be your
persuasion.
stooge.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
All right, what do I get for
Charisma
having a
persuasion.
stooge?
An extra 10 because I'm so good.
manipulation.
Oh, excellent. That's
Yeah.
good. Wait a minute, you're not the story. All right. So this is intimidation. Sean apparently would like to be of assistance to me.
I'm going to stand intimidatingly over his shoulder.
Oh, that's good.
Whoa, where'd you get all those points in that? You're not scary.
Oh, I got all kinds of intimidation. That's social skill. So yes, you said intimidation plus what?
Manipulation, intimidation.
Manipulation. I'm not very manipulative, but I am intimidating.
I can make up for that.
And no modifier on that,
Not
right?
unless you have a specialty in intimidation.
I don't.
Oh, you might get an extra one for me
Duke
being
does.
there, but
Well,
I
yeah,
doubt
if
it.
Sean is supporting you, then you get that +1. I
Oh,
don't know what
cool.
Sean's gonna do, but
I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to look scary behind him.
You know, I pose next to Sean. I lean just so.
That's 3 normal successes.
and what is it that you say that intimidates him? And you follow up with whatever you would say.
Okay, buddy. As far as the prince is concerned, there's been a masquerade breach here. And you know how they deal with those? Don't give me any bullshit about jurisdiction, because you're being a problem and problems get solved. That's why we're here. So if you don't want to get solved, maybe be a little more cooperative with our friend Bob.
Yeah, like math.
You really gonna? You know these people?
Well, yeah, I do know.
What happens if, say, you find out that the masquerade breach was my fault? Then what happens?
Well, I'd say, what is the masquerade breach?
I do not wish to give those details until
Well,
I
I
know.
do not wish to have to.
Are you
Talk to me,
Are you
all right?
Are you gonna kill me? Is this the plan? Am I gonna be?
Not necessarily. Look, I'm going to take the information back to the prince. The prince is going to decide what to do. But I can't be like, hey, Mr. Prince, We heard a screaming coming from underneath the ground, and we just left it there. He's not going to accept that answer.
You don't have to tell. All right, fine,
If you
fine,
tell us
fine.
who it was, it wouldn't be you, would it?
Just give me a second. He starts scrambling around the fence to make his way toward the front gate so he can walk into the graveyard itself, leaving you all alone for about a minute or two. If there's nothing to say, we can move forward.
Do you reckon he's going to come back?
What say you we tie him up, have Duke erase his memory, and we dig up whatever the problem is and kill it?
Could be.
I don't know, Bob.
Can I just look at the scene? That if we're supposed to be handling a masquerade breach,
Oh,
I
yes,
want to
good
see
call.
what else is going on. in
Give
this
me
place.
a investigation check, please, good sir.
Yeah.
Wits investigation.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, it should be one of your specialties.
I was about
It
to
is,
say,
in fact.
get it, Duke.
Yeah, we'll try. We'll see what we
Finally.
got here. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I'm waiting for you to make this roll, my good sir.
Mathas over there pending.
Intimidating.
All right.
I got 4 successes. You know what? I'm gonna reroll.
Yep.
I'm gonna do the
Willpower?
Willpower.
it.
There you go.
5 successes.
5. Duke peels away from the group after that brief interjection from Vera. You go to where the blood was seen. As you approach, you take it in immediately, and it's not anything like the scenes that you've cleaned in the past.
Right.
Usually those are very straightforward. Blood-drained corpse that needs to be removed, or blood spatter from perhaps the work of a scourge like Vera once was. But here, it's different. As you take a moment, really lay your eyes and trail where it seems to go, there does seem to be, at the very least with what you've dealt with in the past, some sort of pattern. It's circular initially, but you had 5 successes.
5.
But as you look at the blood, you've been to many a crime scene, caused plenty yourself. And as you walk on the edges of the blood and you take it in, it is certainly a trail in a circle. But as it comes to a close, the blood trails off. And that's when it gets messy. That's when it seems to scatter in different places, from left to right, even past the circle in the opposite direction. And it's hard to tell, but Duke, you believe that whatever was happening here didn't happen calmly. Whoever's blood this was, if this was indeed a ritual as you presume it to be, then whoever was being, or whatever was being sacrificed, didn't die.
It's a lot of blood. Huh.
You see behind you the Nosferatu coming in through the fence, and he just, in a hunched walk, he's no taller than 5'3", within a very hurried manner, seems to scurry over to the back where you all are.
Can I cut him off?
Yeah,
I'd like to cut him off before he gets to the rest of the group.
maybe he's halfway down, and out the side, the silhouette of Duke steps out in front. He stops short. Looks like you might have spooked him.
Listen, I'm new in Chicago. I'm not from the area. I'm from New York, and I'm looking to make this easy. They, on the other hand, might be interested in making your life a living hell. I can tell that things just aren't right here. Something that happened there, well, I don't think that it died. It's a lot of blood, but there isn't a visible body. See, if it was a kindred, well, that's a lot of wasted blood.
Listen, I'm out of the jurisdiction of the city. I'm not using that as a defense, but it incurs particular dangers being away from the eyes of the sheriff and the prince.
I've heard the stories of Chicago, you know. I've heard about the creatures that kind of move out here.
So I need protection. Met a friend who introduced me to his friend, who introduced me to her friend. And he offered and guaranteed me that I would be safe, but it would come at the cost. He would need to use this place occasionally. Usually twice a year. Usually isn't so bad, but something went wrong. I don't ask questions. I don't mess with blood magic. It ain't my shit. I'll show you.
Let's expedite this.
He moves to push past you, scurries over to the tomb, and quickly climbs in it before Vera or anybody has a chance to say something if you choose to. But as he climbs into the tomb, the lidless tomb, you see him walk to the top half of it and with a very heavy stomp, lift his foot, stomp, stomp, stomp onto the grass. And each one you watch as this square piece of grass gets lower and lower until eventually it gives way and falls. Underneath, you can see mixes of what seems to be a dirt tunnel and some planks here and there for support. And as that grass falls away, and you can see it's maybe a foot thick or so, the wails are apparent. They eep their way out of the hole, and it does sound like somebody in extraordinary pain. He looks up just enough to tilt his head up and make eye contact with you all, but then keeps his head down and simply takes a step and falls into the hole.
Said there was blood magic.
What just, what's going on?
Said some things weren't right. That he has someone that he met that knew someone.
Wait. So he's just a lackey?
He's a middleman for something a little bigger than himself.
Now, what say we find the top of this pyramid, not the bottom of it? If he's just a lackey, I want to know who's... Well, if I was the prince, I would want to know who is, say, running the operation.
And if we have to kill him.
The truth is, he's in over his head and he's rather scared. He's prone to run at this point, but now that we're here, it's his head. So I think he's trying to make
Maybe
this
your
right.
idea of tying him up was the right idea.
I
The prince
say
is going to want to know about this.
there's a part of me that kind of wants to let this play out.
Well, that's messed up.
Sean,
What?
you've lived with me for over a decade. Do you think that I walk the straight and narrow?
Yeah, but I'm still surprised somehow. I know a little of blood magic. I can take a look if you want.
I'd like to know what he's doing. What is under there? I'm not going to jump into a black hole in the bottom
Maybe
of a
we could
graveyard.
throw him in.
Yeah, Sean, you go in.
I mean, that's...
Go!
I'll take a look, then I'll jump in.
So, I'm sorry, you're going to take a look at the what? The blood?
The blood and stuff. Like, he was like...
Go ahead and give me a wits investigation, sir.
Oh, God.
Sean, absolutely.
We know this is your #1 role, Sean.
Maybe I'll get lucky. Oh, I did get lucky. 4 successes.
This isn't blood magic, it's alchemy.
Ah, fuck. Bad news, kids.
Oh,
I'm going in the hole. I leave.
All right, I'll keep an eye on him.
wait, okay. Duke, thoughts?
Well, I don't want to be here. What thoughts were you accepting or
I mean, do we
hoping?
go in the hole, or is this like... You know, we just got out of a big problem, and I really just wanted to start over. I didn't...
This is
Why
part
did
of
you
stuff.
have to show up? This is your fault. I blame you. I jump in the hole.
And we see Vera into the hole. Sean's already in the hole. Bob? Oh, Duke is
At this point, do I have a way to contact the prince?
not an immediate, no. It would be
Okay.
the next night.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm jumping in the hole.
Fire in the hole! As you walk toward the hole, you hear Duke call out for you.
He doesn't want to be a part of this. He's in over his head. Is this something that you'll be reporting to the prince, or will you find yourself in a favorable boon?
Oh, I'm going to report everything here. I'm just a neutral party, just observing what's going to happen. And here to assist if needed.
Let's hope your talents aren't needed.
Let's hope so.
Bob steps into the hole. Max and Duke, do you follow? It would be a very tight fit for the both of you.
Oh, Max was like second. He
Oh,
followed.
Max is in the hole. Never mind.
It's just the two of them.
So Bob follows. Does Duke follow? as well?
I'm unfortunately going to keep John company.
And so we watch as Duke slowly walks away. You would say he looks annoyed, but Duke always looks the same. Instead, we cut underground. It is a very tight squeeze under here. From the ground to what you would consider the ceiling or roof, it's maybe 5.5 feet. Not super short. It would have been real bad for Duke.
Yes.
And you don't walk too far. As you walk down, you see him scurrying into the darkness. There's no light down here. He's not using any torches or any lights. But the wailing is clearly coming from down the short little hallway. Soon, it does give way to a bit of a more open area, but hastily dug out. The walls don't seem supported. There's no clear evidence this has been here for years. It seems that whatever this weird tunnel thing is under this empty tomb was hastily built and probably not longer than a year ago at most. But it's in this room that you see the source of this wailing. So you each file in, one at a time, sat in a small cage fit for a large dog. A boy lies on his back, maybe no older than 10 or 11. He's deadly silent. Sat, the wailing has stopped, and his eyes are open. They stare upward to the dirt ceiling. And as you all file in, this Nosferatu turns to you and looks back, and he just kind of makes gestures. But before words can fall from your mouth, the wailing starts again. And as your eyes are pulled to the center scene, the boy writhes. His mouth is stuck open. His eyes seem stuck forward. And his movements are stiff but sporadic. His face contorts a few times. His jaw seems to dislocate. And he blinks fervently before you see what seems to be color return to his skin. He shouts, begs, reaches for the sky, does not look behind you. But in that moment, as he reaches out, you watch as all that color fades again, and his body falls limp. But the wailing continues.
I'm gonna grab this Nosferatu guy by the back of the neck.
As you just kind of, all of a sudden, Sean just kind of grabs him by the back of the neck.
I'm
And
gonna dig my fingers in and like force his body towards this cage. I'm like, you're really gonna have to explain yourself.
I don't know what to fucking tell you. I don't know what he did to him.
What? Who did? And who is this kid?
I don't know who the kid is. He brought him here. It was the time of the year he wanted to use my place.
If you continue to call him he, I'm going to cut your tongue out and feed it back to you. What is his name?
And it looks like he goes to say something. But as he speaks, you watch his teeth clamp on his tongue. Blood, thick kindred vitae, eeps down to his lips. He pulls his tongue back, and he looks to the ground, breaking eye contact. I don't know, but he can fuck with dead things.
I would like to try something new.
Please.
Does this look like he is under some kind of trance or forced silence?
Intelligence medicine check.
Oh, damn.
For anybody who looks at the body and tries to examine it
This
in
is
any
mixed
way.
page. That's not gonna help me. I'm still not gonna be great. Let's be real.
You have a rouse check. You all could.
You know what? I'm gonna add willpower to this.
Please do.
You said it's.
Intelligence medicine.
Oh my god. Every time you say it, it hurts. Okay, here we go.
Part of the cards. You've got
It's
this.
part of the cards. Yeah, it's gonna be fine. I got 3 successes.
Holy crap. That's
pretty good.
Congratulations.
I got 3
Vera actually pulled
successes,
it off.
everybody. Okay, what's
Vera,
wrong
he
with
doesn't
it?
look like he's in a trance. He looks like he's dead.
The boy?
The boy.
What about the guy, like him not being able to tell us the guy's name? Does he seem like he's being forced to keep that
It
secret?
definitely seemed sudden that he bit his tongue. And you know rituals have been involved.
Yeah. The boy is dead. Okay.
Sometimes.
What do you mean sometimes?
Wow.
This isn't a 50-50 thing. You don't flip a coin. You either are or you are not.
I don't know, Vera. Take a look at him. You see his
Take a look
color
at
coming
you.
back. He falls back down. Then he revives again.
You're here with the prince, right? Bob? Should we just clean this up and bury the hole?
No, no, no! And as you hear-
I didn't ask you. What would you like to do?
No way we can just leave this.
So what? You want to move the evidence? Would you like to take it back to the prince so he can decide on sight what he would like to do? Or would you like me to simply slit his throat?
You can't do any of that. Please.
Well then, Mr. Secretive, why don't you tell me what we can do and we will do our best to solve it?
You need protection from us?
He seems to shrug dejectedly.
Oh,
I
have a thought. Come here.
He inches closer,
No, a little bit closer.
inches a slight bit closer.
Okay. Give me your hand.
I'm afraid.
You should be.
He looks around as though for solace amongst the crew, finds none, and gently lifts his gnarled hands, and now you see his leathery skin bound to his bones, and places it on your cold palm.
Wonderful. I take his hand and I bite into his finger, drawing blood.
Okay.
I don't drink it. That is not what I'm interested in. You can't say his name, can you? But you can sure write it. Take your
And what will that do me? What good will that do?
It will assure that I don't have to kill you right here and now. Write his name on the ground in your blood. And
Under
we'll
the
let-
condition that you keep the boy safe.
Who is the boy? You just said you didn't know who he was, but you seem really concerned. Not that I doubt you. I mean, who wants to see a kid get hurt? But this is something more, ain't it?
He seems to very visibly swallow. Just says, just kill me, keep the boy safe, please.
You tell me his name. I'll keep you and the boy safe.
The boy's name's Tommy.
Tommy, how sweet.
They call me Smiley.
Oh,
Well-
right, because of the thing with your face.
A little
Yeah,
on the
makes
nose,
sense.
but okay. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, Smiley.
Ventru don't particularly take to our kind well, and the nicknames tend to stick when they choose them. So
Yeah. I know, Fred, I know.
His name, your blood.
after a few more moments of internal struggle, he seems to give up and finds a nearby rock jutting out of the dirt, places his finger up, and starts to very quickly write down a name. Stanley.
Is he like you?
Mathas? No.
Does Bob recognize the name?
The first name, actually, give me a resolve intelligence roll for memory. So that would be 5 total. Oh, damn. You critted with
Yeah,
2 10s
twice.
and an 8, so you technically got 5. So with 5 successes, yeah, Stanley rings a bell. There are like no kindred named Stanley, just like there are
Yeah.
no kindred named Bob Kowalski.
The last Stanley I knew was that book, Flat Stanley.
Yeah, you know a Stanley? He's a Hakata, the kindred that mess with the dead. Once known and gone by Giovanni. Before something happened out in the East and they all became the same bloodline. It doesn't really matter to you, but they changed their name and now they're special apparently.
And were there any in Chicago before this? Like we've never we heard
You've
of
had
a few?
passers-by through and through, but
Okay.
none that live in Chicago. None
Yeah,
that
this
claim it
is
as their home,
Weird.
at least
Boy,
openly.
I share that with everybody.
And so it is shared.
Oh, Smiley. Is this boy important to you or to Stanley?
He doesn't want me to get rid of him.
Really? I walk over to the hole. Duke!
Duke, as you're over by the truck and you're just having a chat with John. John's leaning up against the truck hood. He's like, do you think you could drive the rest of the evening? I'm tired.
Of course, John.
I
Of course.
appreciate it. I like that Bob individual.
I don't.
I heard that. And that's when you hear Vera's voice.
Duke!
Don't die, John.
Drop a rope down attached to the hitch. We have something to carry back to Chicago.
Dude, thanks for a moment. Where the hell am I gonna find a rope? Do we
Work
have?
on it, Duke!
Don't worry about it, Vera. I think I can manage.
Get it up? Okay, well, that's fine too.
No, you can't take him. You can't take
What?
him.
Why
You
can't
just said we weren't going to hurt him, and we're going to keep him safe.
Yeah, if you were going to kill me, then yeah, you keep an eye on him.
Oh,
but-
no,
Well,
no.
why don't you just come with us?
I squeeze real hard on the back of his neck, like, yeah, why don't you come with us?
I don't lay my
No,
loyalties.
it's not a suggestion.
I don't recognize Mr. Jackson is the proper Prince of Chicago.
I understand that.
Oh.
But in your current situation, it is going to be you coming with us, or you and the boy.
Because the kid's a thin blood.
Oh,
Shut up, Sean. Stop speaking. Okay.
You can't bring a thin blood to the prince who's... Listen,
Who's what? No. Finish that
half
sentence with
dead and half alive. This
Now-
guy tried to perform some sort of ritual on a fucking thin blood. Made me turn him.
Oh,
you're
there
so
it
right.
is.
Oh.
There it is.
you're dead,
Oh,
mate.
my dear Smiley. Come with us.
No.
Yes, please. It will be a fantastic trip from here to
No.
Chicago.
I'll leave. You guys said you're from New York? Open the positions, I can go to New York. I can start and turn a new leaf.
That is not a good
I'll be out of
idea.
your hair, Chicago's hair. Jackson you can tell him you cleaned it up.
Okay, listen.
I don't like that sigh.
Listen, Smiley. First off, you just said that Smiley ain't what you like to be called. So what would you like me to call you?
Alive.
Again with this.
Dave.
Okay, Dave. You're in a bit of a pickle here.
He made me turn him. I didn't have a choice. He knew.
Okay.
He.
So maybe throwing yourself on the mercy of the court is really your only option here.
Is that gonna work?
It could. I mean, I got no guarantees, but if you cooperate, it's going to be better for you. But I did notice you said something that kind of perked my interest a bit when you said that you didn't recognize him as the proper Prince of New York, or of Chicago. So who do you recognize as the proper Prince?
The one that came before him, Max.
Look, gentlemen, all politics aside, I want to know your Stanley. How many more has he done this to?
This was the first thin blood attempt. Everybody else was just a mortal.
Right? And how did the mortals turn out?
I would assume successful since he was gone the next day. But this time
Oh,
he was.
so he did it always. He always did it there.
He uses my place. Yeah.
We're,
Yes.
the closest I've found to a rope is Max's robe cord. That's the best I've got. It's about 7 feet in length. I hope it's enough. Sorry, Max, I've disassembled your robe.
Don't worry.
We'll
don't
get you a fresh one when we get to Chicago, I promise.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Besides, all I need to do is hoist this thing on my back and then jump on out of here. But I'm told that that is not an option somehow.
Don't.
Well, last time I checked, we don't take orders from, what was your name? Smiley?
Dave, apparently.
Yes.
Smiley Dave.
Smiley, this Stanley. Do you
Smiley
know?
Dave.
Do you know where he resides?
No.
Do you know when he'll be back?
Probably 6 months. Well, no. He told me to hold on to the boy. He didn't give me a timeline.
And what is the whole point of this living dead situation?
I assume he wants to try and fix it or figure out what the fuck he did.
Fix it?
He shrugs and throws his hands in the air. I don't fuck with blood magic.
No, but you fuck with making thin bloods.
It was that or he killed me.
Well, guess what, Smiley? You're in a bit of predicament. Because you're probably going to face that either way.
So then just do it here. End it. End it now.
Okay, Vera, say the word.
As Max's hand just sort of closes around his head.
Yeah, hold on.
Bob, let's say we set a little trap. You see, the Drac Pack is not known for cold blood killing.
They just called themselves the Drac Pack.
Yeah, we got t-shirts and everything.
Yes, look at him!
Hello.
Yes, well, you can get yours online.
The Drac Pack?
Okay, that is not the point of this, Bob. Bob, let's say we set a bit of a trap. We're well known for thinking outside the box, and who says we need to kill him in cold blood? I say we put him in the box. Take the little thin blood child back to Jackson. Let him use all of his resources to figure out what exactly is going on. And maybe catch Stanley in the act. He'll be back, more than likely.
I love that idea. It all seems great as a plan, but, is he going to come back tonight?
Oh, Jackson's one of those must-have-it-now types.
Surely Stanley wants the kid.
Smiley, is this child important to you?
Yeah,
or
let
is
me
it
take-
important to Stanley?
Let me take my paw off your face there. Hey.
Hold on. Stanley. It's just a kid, though.
It's not just a kid. It's leverage.
No, I mean, like, he's just a kid. I don't want him to. If it can be undone, I want it to be undone. I don't. Even if life as a thin blood is better than this.
I mean, look, I think if, if anybody that knows how to get it undone, it would be people that work for the prince. That's my stance on it.
And what is the prince's stance on thin bloods? I'm gonna guess the same as everybody else's. Fuck them.
Not everybody has the same view on thin bloods. Don't be so naive.
He doesn't say anything.
Sean, you used to do that thing where you tasted their vitae. Can you still do that?
I've tried since. Nah.
No luck?
I've lost it.
How do you lose? What?
You just forget stuff over time. Also, shut up, and I crush his neck a little bit more.
Was it a one and done thing? He wanted it done tonight?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're still just holding this. Vera, what's going on?
We're going to be bringing a cage up, Duke. We're going to need a bit of a pulley system. It could be heavy and
You
loud.
want to just.
No, Vera, I got this totally. So now that he's got the all clear, Max picks up the cage, puts it on his shoulders, walks over to the hole, and jumps straight up.
Duke, you see the cage lifted first, followed immediately by Max.
He drops the cable. I don't know what my purpose is here.
Duke,
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Duke, in your pocket, you usually have a pen and paper.
It's a little condescending, but accurate.
I find it quite handy. Can I have it?
He drops it into the hole.
I write very, very quaintly and in great cursive. Finders, keepers. Vera. And I leave it where the cage was. You, coming with us. Let's go.
Oh, it's one of those I don't have a choice things, I guess. So.
Well, you seem to be making some tough decisions, so.
He seems to give in and follows. Sean, as the boy passes by in the cage, you hear, is it a thought? Intrusive thought? Just have the thought, you should kill him. It's not an urge. It's not a compulsion. It's like a little voice in the back of your head suggesting something.
Certainly an alternative.
It kind of comes and goes. Sean takes note. Seemed strange for a moment, but maybe it's just the chaos of the situation. Eventually, everybody clambers their way out of the hole, included the Nosferatu. So the plan is what then? Bring me to the prince and just hand me in?
Yep, but before that, you need to clean this up. That's why we're here.
How did anybody fucking hear of this place? And he just storms off.
How did anyone hear this, Bob? How was this reported? We are in the middle of nowhere.
You were given it direct orders by the prince himself.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes he keeps those details close to the chest. You know what I'm saying?
It follows
No.
outside of Chicago proper. Seems a little much.
You know, we're all about protecting the borders, you know?
So Bob, is the plan for us to just cool our heels until old Smiley Dave there takes some spick and span through these tombstones?
I mean, I think he'll be able to clean it up pretty quick, and then we can head over to the prince.
All right.
You all watch as he's over there on his hands and knees, freaking like
And you know what,
trying
Sean?
to
Fix
scrape
that
away.
when you kicked it. Do it?
I think he kicked two.
Okay, well, both of them. A reason to desecrate a graveyard.
As you're
What?
tidying up this abandoned graveyard, the boy begins to wail again. You hear the thrashing of bone on metal, throwing his head up against the bar, screaming. Maybe even at one point you think he may have been begging for help. But this time his body doesn't go limp. He continues to move, but the color never returns to his face. And instead, that wailing voice is slowly overtaken. A deeper, guttural voice pours out of this boy's mouth as you watch his two arms snap to their side, the audible snap of his elbows as they bend backwards, and his fingers pressed fingertip up against the floor of this cage.
That's probably not good.
But it's his legs that snap. The skin stretches until it breaks. And as that gives way, you watch as his legs extend further and further, unnaturally so. Muscle, blood, and bone. His fingers eventually also bend so roughly against the ground, they eventually break. But at the base where the bone breaks, fingers crawl out, claw-like. His face stays the same, but his neck is clearly dislocated. As he holds himself up in that classic backwards position, his head lags. You can hear the shouting of this boy mixed with the guttural noises, but his face makes no movements. His mouth stays lagged open and his eyes seem dead inside. And in that voice, in that mixed cacophony, you hear your name, Sean. You all hear Sean's name.
He says Sean?
Yeah.
You hear it mixed within the voices.
I think it's for you, kid.
But before
I'm
you
not
can
picking it
really
up.
sit and talk, you watch as his hands snap outward, the claws wrap around the bars,
Oh, no.
and he starts slamming and tugging. You can watch as the cage very simply starts to bend and bend until you hear the snap of metal.
Okay.
You hear the sound of a shotgun being loaded.
Yes. I pulled two knives. You know, we were going to give him a chance, but
Hold up. I'm going to use vicissitude on myself.
oh,
And what are you going to do?
I'm going to attempt to increase my strength.
What type of, how obvious is this?
It's
Do you
gonna
know
be
what the
as-
masquerade breach level is for that ability?
It's, it's, it's fine.
No, is it? It's fine. I need to know.
It's just, for this one, it's
What are you doing to
minimal.
yourself?
It's minimal.
Sure, what
I
are you
am-
doing to yourself?
I am enhancing my strength by subtly building muscle so it looks like super clean, svelte.
Sean randomly. Well, what do you do when you do that? Are you just kind of prepping? Or?
No, I'm like charging at this like raging creature.
Wits awareness, all four of you as he marches forward, not
You
you,
first.
Sean.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
This is
You
interesting.
know how many?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
My.
5 successes.
Wow.
Ooh.
Just one here. You can use a willpower and reroll 3 if you want.
Yep.
Do it up.
Uh-oh.
Thanks for that suggestion.
Of course. 2
another
more,
one,
so
too.
3.
A
So
real-
3, 3.
5.
A real
5,
sexy 2.
2.
1. 3 successes with a crit, I think. 2 crits.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Those who crit, you actually can see Sean as he runs forward. His strides seem to get just a bit bigger as he moves closer, and he kind of like lifts himself. You can actually see the clothes on him get just like a little tighter. Unfortunately, with 3, not enough, but with the 5, there's a subtle shift in his physique as he runs forward. What do you do when you run up to the cage as you hear the cage kind of bending and snapping? And as you run actually forward, your name pours forth over and over and over. The whales are consumed, and all that's left is your name, spoken out of the mouth of a dead child.
I'm gonna find the extra strength in myself and basically meet this thing in opposing force hand to hand.
Wow.
And like try and wrestle it.
Strength brawl. As you approach the cage, you watch the sides of the cage get thrown off. One flies and hits the other, the fence to the graveyard. The other hits a tombstone and gets bent and wraps around it before it kind of falls limply to the side. The top falls downward, and as he stands up, he stands at 8 feet tall. His body remains the same size as it was when he was still alive, but his legs are thin, gangly, 5 or 6 feet long. that end in points. No toes and no feet. And his hands, the sharp claws that he has, around his wrist, the loose skin of what was once mortal hands dangles. And as you rush forward, it rushes out to swipe. What'd you roll, strength plus brawl?
This is better than it normally is. So I
Yeah,
got
you've got
4.
a bit of a bonus there.
I got 4. Oh no.
As you latch onto this thing, it actually pushes down, but you hold for a moment. Your foot digs into the dirt, it actually sinks in a bit, but there's just this hatred emanating off of this creature. It has no face, it has no head. It is just the head of this boy. And as it leans down on you with the head hanging upside down, you feel your own arms buckle before you get pushed back, and it slowly climbs on top of Sean before it has before he eventually gives way and he topples on top of this thing.
While I'm being pushed back, I'm just going to be like, who do you think I am? What the fuck is going on?
Everybody's actions now as we enter, VTM initiative. What does everybody want to do?
I reckon I'm gonna unload a barrel or two into it.
Range. Anybody else doing any ranged actions as they would take place first?
Now, would I be able to fire off both barrels in one round?
I would say no.
All right. So I'm gonna fire one. And yeah, Dragon's Breath rounds.
Ooh, how many more of those do you have? Do you know?
Not many more.
Say 2 or 3 maybe after the last season.
You know what? I don't even know if this thing is kindred.
You don't? You have no idea.
I've got it out. It does have reinforcement along the butt. It's got a metal plate. I'm gonna run up to it and smack it.
A strength brawl. Do you have a specialty in any of that?
No, specifically, no.
He is unfortunately.
And
only
if
gonna
I'm
get
using
much.
my potence, that's
It just adds afterward, right?
I got
As long as you succeed, it adds the damage out.
4 automatic successes. Yeah. All right.
And where are you aiming? What are you looking to hit? Just the body, the legs, the arms, the dangling
What's
head?
he being pinned down by?
2 arms as he's held down by his shoulders.
I guess I'll go for one of the elbows on the arms to try to smash that
I
in.
would love to roll.
Gnarly.
It's gnarly.
So everybody's melee. What is everybody else doing? Since actions all take place at the same time in this rule system, what are you going to do? Are you just going to
I'm
watch?
just watching.
So do you like
willpower.
kick back up against like
Yeah.
a tombstone? You see him throw a foot up with the boot?
Look,
I love it.
Vera's not interested
Sneakers.
anymore
Yeah,
in
sorry,
this,
sneakers,
this
sneakers.
monster. She's way more interested in the man who has the information. Where's Smiley?
As Vera, you see this all happen and you take kind of account. You see Smiley creeping toward the front gate.
Great. I'm a way better creeper than he
Yeah,
is.
you have
I'd like to
celerity.
out-creep him and catch him. That's
Okay,
my goal.
that's going to be your turn.
How many willpower must I spend? Or may I spend?
1.
1.
All right.
It'll add 2 die to the pre-roll.
Or reroll 3
Or
die if
reroll,
you
yeah.
fail.
I'm going to reroll
Sean
3
and
die.
Duke, what are you doing for your actions here?
And Duke's not a physical combatant, at
Yeah.
least on whatever this thing is.
Sure.
So he's
Along with.
he's gonna sit near Bob.
I'm going to have to keep wrestling it then.
Oh yeah, you're
Otherwise I'll
still
get
wrestling.
squashed.
So
Crazy.
that's 3 successes.
I thought
Beautiful.
the Max was the craziest thing I was going to see all night, but
Wasn't
now this
expecting
is
that.
creepier.
He's capable though.
And Vera, you're going after him, and Sean, you're being pinned. So Max, Sean, you're fighting this thing. Max, you run up to it. With the metal butt of this thing, you slam it into this thing's shoulder, and you do feel what sounds to be like, or hear rather, what sounds to be cracking of bone underneath. And it does, for a moment, lurch to its side as it regains its strength. All the while, however, Sean, the head of this creature seems to get closer and closer as it lowers itself onto you. And just as the head gets within a couple of feet, that's when Max shows up. You see that the mouth, you can hear and feel warm breath. And you see thick, dark, black saliva drooling at the corner of its mouth before a tongue, certainly the boy's at first, begins to extend outward and move toward your face.
I'm going to free one hand and right hook it.
Yeah, you give me an opposed strength brawl check, sir.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm also going to, like, just
Oof, that was bad.
look horrified and confused as an action.
As you do.
Okay, that is a crit. So
Yeah, it
1,
is.
2, 3,
Dang.
No,
4,
it's
5,
unfortunate for me.
6, 7.
You loosen up as the shotgun's butt cracks into the bone of the shoulder of its left shoulder, and it does give way. That gives you a moment to free up an arm. You're able to loosen up, and as you try to fight off with the right arm, you do, with your new defined muscles, launch a left hook and collide with the head of this thing.
Oh yeah, I'm like trying to move the head
As
far away
you
from
hit
me.
the head, you watch the jaw kind of dangle off to the side, black spittle spraying off to it, but giving you a moment to roll out and get up to your feet.
That thing used to be a thin blood. What happened?
As you see this, Max, you're doing your thing. Now, when you catch up to him, what are you planning on doing? Just like pinning him, capturing him, or just like getting in his
If
way
I've
so he
got
can't
him,
move?
if I've got him in sight, the ground is what, dirt?
Yeah, it's all grass and dirt, overgrown. At this time of day,
I'm
the
going
morning
to
dew is
spend a
still
willpower
not.
and make a called shot.
Sure.
I throw this knife with my specialty to pin his foot to the ground.
Excellent. Dexterity, weapons?
Melee?
Melee?
With
Yep.
knife specialty plus the willpower?
Yep,
Okay.
yep. That should be a high pool for you.
It's, yeah, poor
Yeah.
guy.
That's like your specialty when it comes to combat.
Let's see how we do.
In the meanwhile, are you going to, once again,
Oh, yeah.
give me another roll?
I'm ready.
And what do you want to do
Success with a crit.
7?
With a crit.
With a crit
With a
on the
crit?
called
Holy
shot.
shit. So before we cut there, the camera flies through the gravestones and catches up to Vera as she quickly pulls a dagger out of her boot and mid-step plants herself down and hurls the dagger. The camera follows it as it spins and it arcs just perfectly as he's just about to take his step out of the gate. You see it pierce through his tendon and pin into the ground. He doesn't let out a scream. Damage and pain is different for Kindred, but he seems surprised for a moment and then looks back and sees
Gives me
you.
just enough time to hopefully run right up
A
on
definite,
him.
yeah, it definitely should. You are going to hit him. What are your rolls?
Hold on 1 second.
Yep, you do that, Sean.
I'm intending on using Sense the Beast again because I don't know what he is,
Okay.
and I really, really want to know.
Please do. You gonna hang out with Bob still?
Yeah, I'll ask Bob.
Just in case. So interject if anything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
But yeah,
Look
go
at
ahead.
Bob. I've heard that Chicago has lupine, but I wasn't expecting this. He said he was a thin blood.
Yeah, I don't think that kid's gonna survive. What do you?
I don't want to put any money in this. I'm sorry.
Okay, so that's 6 successes plus 4 automatic successes.
10
successes.
And are you hitting in the same place again, or are you readjusting your strike zone?
You know something? How much damage did I do to that limb?
A good chunk. Again, if you felt the bone crack, you watched it kind of give way. It's hard to tell with the way its limbs are already bloody and tendon with the skin missing as it grew out of this boy's
Yeah,
body.
you know what? If Sean just knocked that head one way, I basically wind up and smack it back.
So, all right, perfect.
So
you
with,
use
yeah.
sense the beast?
10 successes.
You do not sense.
I got 3.
You do not feel the beast within this child.
What is going on? That
As
is
the head swings back, with its tongue now lagging out of its mouth as it was attempting to do something to Sean, we simply watch as Max rears back, shotgun again, and swings it like a
Well,
base.
actually, you know something? Just a punch.
Just a punch. As it swings back, you meet it as it comes back toward you, and with your fist, it explodes, doing that much damage. But brain matter and blood aren't what is exposed. Certainly, there are bits of bone that fly around, but a thick, black, viscous liquid seems to have replaced whatever brains or blood were in this child's head at any point at this point.
Crazy.
And with 10 damage, it stumbles to its side, makes an ungodly noise through the throat hole that's left where the head once was, swipes kind of wildly at you and at Sean, but not with any intent like there once was, before eventually its wild swings slow. And you watch as it doesn't dust like a kindred would, or fall prone and just become a corpse like any mortal would. Instead, you watch as it melts. The flesh becomes liquefied, a thick, chunky, viscous ooze, and it melts into the ground, covering where it once stood in a semi-clear liquid is the best word I can give you for it. It takes minutes. It seems to writhe and be alive the entire time.
Looking at the liquid, Max says, I don't know, Bob. Would you say that's more of an ooze or more of a goop?
Somewhere in between. But before that, Bob takes out his phone and starts videotaping.
I love that he has a phone. So Bob,
for the prince.
is it a smartphone?
Oh yeah.
I love it. So he pulls out like a freaking a smartphone after
Yeah,
Sean.
that looks good.
And yeah, he films this entire thing the whole
Prince
time.
is gonna have to see this.
That's what he says.
Prince is down with that?
We're a little unorthodox here. We
Yeah,
trying to
all
do our
right,
things
all
our
right.
own way.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do. I get it.
Max, you didn't have to kill it. It wasn't a vampire. I couldn't feel any like.
I didn't say it was a
Vampire-ness.
vampire.
But it used to be what in blood? Like that's. Not,
I mean,
I
so
thought I was doing you a favor,
So
kid. It was-
Smiley the lion Nos says, I mean, who knows? It
Yes,
could have been.
Let's see what
bunch of
he
BS.
has to say. I rip the blade from his
Yep.
foot and then promptly shove it very closely up his nostril. And I say, I know you don't care maybe much about how you look, but I bet you still feel pain. So you're going to get in the back of this truck. We're going to mop up the boy and take you back to Jackson.
I don't know what the fuck that was.
I don't care. The fact of the matter is, I am very tired of dealing with thin blood drama. I did not get into this life and sacrifice everything I have for almost a century so that you and your thin blood shenanigans can stop me from starting a new life. So get in the truck, shut your mouth, or I will slit your throat. Do you understand? Wonderful. This is going to be a great ride to Chicago. Would you like shotgun, Bob?
I think I'm going to sit back here with you guys. It's more fun.
Wonderful.
As you all approach the car, John actually pulls you aside, Vera.
John?
Miss Vera, perhaps the wrong time, but I had a proposition. Would you think of getting rid of Sean and replacing him with Bob?
John, I always take your words under great consultation, and this is a wonderful idea.
Just as I said to Mr. Bob, ever since Sean came into our lives, and he kind of wordlessly just gestures.
Yes, Sean is a bit of a...
For your own safety, Miss Volkov, and your safety has always been my priority.
John, getting all sentimental.
Sean was dead, madam.
John, we are all dead, except for you.
A simple suggestion, perhaps out of my place. I apologize.
John, your words are never out of place. I will consider it. Bob looks better in a pair of Wranglers, I bet, than Sean does anyways. Heroin chic isn't my vibe.
Max is gonna sort of be sitting next to Sean, sort of with crossed arms. Look, kid, I thought that thing was trying to kill you.
It's trying to French me.
You saying I should have let it?
Sean,
Absolutely not.
as you begin having this conversation with Max, you have that thought again. Not the same thought, but another intrusive one. Come home.
Max,
Yeah.
you know when we reach Chicago?
No.
Yeah.
New York? You said Chicago, right?
Yeah, we're going there, right?
Oh, yeah, I thought you said remember when we were in Chicago. I
No,
just
I
heard
said
you.
reach.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
remember
Yeah,
when we reached?
hopefully sometime before the turn of the century. What?
Have we actually got a place there?
Yeah. Yeah, don't you pay attention. Duke took it all care of. He set everything up.
What about this Bob fella?
Yeah, well, Bob, he seems nice enough. I don't know why you're getting on his case all the time.
It's just weird that whoever the hell the prince is, you're gonna have to tell me about that, by the way.
Yeah. What?
Send some. Is the American word schmuck?
Well, first of all, appearances can be deceiving. Second of all, I've noticed you have a real problem with authority. and princes in particular. So maybe you try to keep your nose clean for 5 goddamn minutes so we can at least set up our fucking IKEA furniture before the law comes down on our head. It's really good to have you back, by the way.
Yeah. I'm real glad to be here.
Yeah.
As you all load to the back of the van and the car rolls forward, is there any?
Yeah, that's settled then.
Yeah, I feel like that's settled at that point. You said you want to hang out in the back with them as they move in? You all pile in.
Before we go, can Duke collect some of that congealed mass?
Absolutely.
I-
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I've lost my contact in New York at the Chantry, and I'm sure
yes.
Chicago will make for a great entry.
Absolutely. What do you put it in?
We'll say it's one of his scab Tupperware kits.
Yeah. What do we got here? We got like a empty, looks like chocolate shake from McDonald's. If you want someone with a lid.
That would actually be wonderful.
Okay.
You know, there is a carekeeper's closet here there's like a carekeeper's shed.
Oh,
the,
you mean
we-
for the
For
graveyard?
the graveyard, maybe there's a bucket in there.
A bucket means we could take a lot more of what's left.
Just,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
this
if
is
we-
only a medium shake, so.
Right. Plus, if there's like chocolate residue on the inside, and we mix it with it, and you could,
Oh,
you know,
yes,
you-
it could mess with the chemical makeup of our goopy friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm trying to keep the evidence as clean as possible. Can I go look for a bucket?
Absolutely.
Okay.
By the way, Bob, like, you know you're one of us, right?
I mean, by
Well, A, we're pals, but B, like, you're a vampire.
I can't believe you said that word. We don't really like to say that word around here.
Yeah, I know, but I do.
He's a little strange. I think what he's saying is he might have a crush on you. Be careful.
All right.
He likes to make out with random strangers.
Okay, well.
Oh, and by the way, this
twice.
complimentary Drac Pack T-shirt is for you.
I hope
Really?
it's your
You're
size.
part of the crew now.
Is this could this complimentary Drac Pack T-shirt be available online somewhere, sir?
I don't know. That's above my
Oh,
pay grade,
okay.
but I'm sure someone who pays attention could tell you.
So anyway, I grab a bucket from
Yeah,
the,
eventually you do
the
find a shed, and
janitor's,
it's very clear as you find this what was once props a shed. This is where the Nosferatu was spending his time. The windows have been blacked out by trash bags, and whatever holes in the walls have been patched over the many years. And yeah, it looks like he was spending his time here. But yeah, an old bucket that is got some dust, but beyond that, seems fine.
Vera, did we get any details on whom Smiley was working with?
He said a man's name Stanley.
Wait, Stan Lee?
No, Stanley.
Oh, okay, never
He
mind.
said something about Hecate.
And he was, yes, he got it, which we all know is going to be problematic.
With some of the documentation that I pulled back from previous season, would there be a chance that I could have tied that name to something with the lupine discovery?
Very possible. Does Duke have his papers on hand?
We were moving, so it's
I didn't
not,
know if-
A
it's
box
never far.
somewhere.
Yeah, it's in a
maybe,
box
yeah.
somewhere. It rings a bell, and you believe it comes from the crime, the files that you had on those organized crime units.
Yes.
But you would need to get that folder out and spend some time digging and looking. But it is something that rings a bell in Duke's mind.
I'll file that away for later.
Yes, tracking him down might be an extra cherry on our ice cream for Jackson, wouldn't you say?
It might be some closure for many of us. If you recall that previous lupine experience that you danced yourself away from.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Bob's getting all kinds of stories right now.
That being said, Bob, on a scale of 1 to amazing, how did we do?
You know, I'm gonna keep those answers confidential, but let's just say that you ever heard the term 3 out of 4 ain't bad?
I have never gotten anything less than a 4.
Talking about 3 of your members out of 4.
Oh, does Sean get... Is Sean?
I mean, he's
It's okay.
walking
We're
it,
working
walking it.
on it. He's
All
getting
right.
better.
He's new.
Yes,
I
he's
gotta
new.
report. I gotta do a full report, okay, on each one of you.
Do us a favor. Leave out the part where the goop mentioned his name. Do you mind?
That's kind of a pretty big piece of evidence.
He didn't say Sean. He said yawn. I yawned before I died. He yawned.
I'll consider it. Yeesh.
Eventually, the back door to the moving van slides and slams shut. You hear the engine roar to life. And is there anybody sitting shotgun with John, or is he alone now?
No, I have to drive now.
Oh, right. Yeah, you did ask Duke
John
to
did
drive.
drive.
So as Duke actually leaves the back of the van and is heading toward the front for some weird reason.
Duke, did we scare you off?
No, I think John might actually be dying. He's requested that I drive for him.
Oh, make sure he takes a nap. He is mortal after
That's
all.
how death works, I think.
As you open the driver's side door, it's in tandem with a rather wet fart that comes out of a sleeping John in the passenger seat. And he mumbles and kind of moves a little bit.
Gift that keeps giving.
John.
The worst Hallmark present ever.
You hear him, he kind of just like flaps his gums together a couple times and readjusts, and the engine roars to life. We see the giant high beams of this moving truck kind of light up off the dirt road and onto the main road. And as you drive off in the distance, we linger. And that's where the screen goes black, and we end our session for tonight. Thank you guys so much for coming out. It was super fun. I appreciate you all very much.
Yeah, super special thanks to our guests.
Yes, thank you,
Thank
Jason.
you so much, Jason.
Yeah, thank you.
Mathas, you want to tell people where they can find
Yeah,
us?
you guys, if you guys enjoyed it online or in person, this is your first time listening to us for whatever reason, please find us on Pod by Night. We've got a bunch of different shows. Our main show, Stitch of Fate, is 3 seasons. It's all done. You can binge it now. We have a little mini-series in between called Desperate Measures, which is a 4-episode Hunter v5 show that takes place in the same continuity. Though you don't need to watch the first 3 seasons. You can watch Desperate Measures alone. And we have a new season of the main show coming out in a couple of months, ideally, and a bunch of other little small things that are also going to be seen as in between main seasons. We've got a bunch of stuff for you guys. Again, Pod by Night online, anywhere. You'll find us on any of your podcast apps. And that's it. Thank you guys again, and it was super fun to play with you guys in person for the first time.
Can we go around and just tell people who we
Yeah,
are?
start
Bub,
over there
let you
with Bub.
start, Bub.
I'm Bub. If you guys want to find me, you can walk on over to twitch.tv/BubTalks. I do a lot of role playing. I make voices loud and pretend to be, well, much cooler than I actually am.
I'm LittleRedDot. You can find me everywhere LittleRedDots are found online, mostly with Cobalt Press, Pod by Night, and the D3 at Sea cruise.
Jason.
I'm Jason Charles Miller. If you're watching on Twitch, you can just go to Jason Charles Miller and for my channel there. I also am frequently on the Codename Games channel for my show Bardic Inspiration, where we write a song every week with the audience, which we're doing live. Amy Vorpal and I are doing that live tomorrow night here at 8 o'clock upstairs in 233. So yeah, come check it out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm Mike. Other than obviously on Pod by Night, you can see me storytelling here and maybe even playing soon in a little something that might be coming out. You can find me at basically a Chilluminati podcast. It's a comedy paranormal podcast with myself, Jesse, and Alex, and we have an episode every week, and you can find me out there.
Yeah, Josh, I mostly do vampire stuff here and on my YouTube channel, Strange Adventures, but yeah, I'm the guy that's organizing the something that everyone else is hopefully going to be playing.
Something's coming out soon.
Hello, I'm Mark Meer. You can see me every Thursday on the official Dungeons & Dragons YouTube and Twitch channels on the Black Dice Society. I'm also Dungeon Master for D3 at Sea and for D&D in a Castle. And you can find me on Cameo for all your Mass Effect catchphrase related needs.
What?
Very nice,
Yeah.
very nice.
The best cameo.
Thank you guys again so much for coming, and thank you guys for playing with me as always. It's always a pleasure to play with you. And Jason, thank you once more for joining us.
Thanks for
Yes,
having
thank
me,
you,
man.
thank you.
We'll be around if you guys want to say hi afterward. We'll be out there, so.
Thanks again. Have a
Thanks,
great
guys.
GenCon, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.